had a couple clients come to me saying, hey, I heard you do social media. I heard you had these awesome clients before. Like, could you do mine? So I kind of took that as a sign from the universe that this is just what I should be doing. And it's where my experience was lying. And it helped me to realize it was a great idea. And I think when you're asking the universe for questions and then something falls into your lap, I think it's a really big sign to go. Just run with it and see what happens.
That's Allison Norton Rolfes, and this is the Powerful Ladies Podcast. Hey guys, I'm your host, Kara Duffy, and this is the Powerful Ladies Podcast, where I invite my favorite humans, the awesome, the up to something, and the extraordinary to come and share their story. I hope that you'll be left entertained, inspired, and moved to take action towards living your most powerful life. Allison Norton Rolfes is the founder and chief creative officer at ANR Creative Group, a marketing and social media agency based in Costa Mesa, California. She's one of the best in the industry, having launched successful celebrity Instagrams, such as LaurenConrad.com, and helping businesses to double in size thanks to her oversight of their social channels. On this episode, we discuss the power of social media for your business and why it's more than a pretty Instagram feed. We talk about how you can actually take maternity leave and vacations as a business owner, and how Allison created a successful business that's 100% built around her dream life. All that and so much more coming up, but first, if you're interested in discovering what possibilities and businesses are available for you to create and to live your most fulfilling life, please visit thepowerfulladies.com/coaching and sign up for a free coaching consultation with me. There is no reason to wait another day to not be living your best life, when you instead could be running at full speed towards your wildest dreams today. Well, welcome to the Powerful Ladies Podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I am very excited to have you. You are such an integral person into my life and my business, so I can't wait for everyone to meet you. So let's begin. Would you please introduce yourself and your business and what you're up to?
Sure, and thanks for having me. I am Allison Norton Rolfes. I am the founder and owner of ANR Creative Group. I've worked in the digital media space since the beginning of my career, since graduating college. And this is my third position in a digital media company. And I live here in Costa Mesa. So I get to work with Kara one-on-one in person. And I'm really, my role within my company is really like a chief creative director. So seeing all of our clients, brands, and businesses from the visual side and from the creative side of things. I'll save the rest if we want to keep diving into more details.
Well, for people who don't know, what the whole world of marketing is that you touch, what specifically do you help businesses achieve or overcome?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just go through my whole story. So in college, I went to USC, Southern California, up in LA for college. And I think what I did was unique was in that I studied what I actually wanted to do and what I've ended up doing. So I studied print journalism, and halfway through my time in college, they actually changed it to digital journalism. So one of my professors was at LA Times, the print publication, and halfway through that semester with her, she went to LATimes.com. And that was really indicative of like what was happening in the journalism industry at the time. Mm-hmm. I knew I always wanted to be, a features writer, and I wanted to write, for lifestyle editorials like a Vogue or even like a Rolling Stone, just anything, music, travel, fashion, like anything really lifestyle focused. And that was really what I wanted to do for a print publication. And so it was interesting seeing how our curriculum shifted, everything shifted to digital right when I was in college. And that was 2008 to 2012. So really when everything was shifting. And even, print journalism was kind of concerned at that time. Like our professors were telling us, this is going to be a dinosaur industry. So the cool thing about that was that in those courses through my major, we were like creating blogs, and we were creating websites where our articles would live. And we were learning about Twitter as a journalism tool and resource, which was really amazing. And I liked that digital space. I liked how, it was the kind of work you could do from wherever. And even reporting, you could go out in the field and do it, and then, submit your work digitally. I thought that was really neat. And my minor was graphic design. So I've always, loved fine arts. I was in like AP fine arts studio classes in high school and really wanted to pursue that visual fine arts element. I thought it was really cool to be able to take journalism and then maybe like photography or graphic design or something and meld them together to be able to do those skills together to create like the whole piece, the whole project. So anyway, so my first job right out of college, I took it for the position, the title of it, more than even I didn't even know what the company was. I didn't know what they did, but the title was associate editor. And I was like, editor? Oh my gosh. Like as a journalism major, you're like reporter or like bottom of the barrel, B-roll camera person. So having that title editor, I was like, okay, I don't even know like what I'll be doing, but I just want to be an associate editor. That's the position I want to do. And turns out it was a company that, after I interviewed there and got to know more about the company, it was a company called Equal. They were based in the Valley in LA and Burbank, and they specialized in running YouTube and celebrity websites. And they also had a branded side of the company that did like Walmart's content for their website and like random brands like Philadelphia cream cheese's content. So blogs for those big brands. And I was hired on the celebrity side of things and actually hired to work on specifically Lauren Conrad's website. So to write her blog content. And during that time at Equal, Instagram was becoming popular. It was kind of shifting from like, oh, is this just an app where we filter photos on all these different filters to like, oh, wait, people can see these photos. People are liking these photos and engaging. So we actually, for several of the celebrities there, for Lauren's brand, we started the laurenconnor.com Instagram at that company, which was really cool to visualize these big names, some of these A-list and B-list and C-list celebrities, visualize their social media from the ground up when it was just gaining traction in the social media world. So, managing blog roles, managing all forms of social, so Twitter, Facebook, and then really that Instagram piece, and doing kind of some small like guerrilla style photo shoots for these celebrities. So long story short, Equal got acquired by a big, really corporate company that just it wasn't a good fit. They didn't care about those lifestyle brands. They didn't care about doing that editorial. They cared more about this big corporate, more like the Walmarts of that company. So myself and two of my colleagues there, two other women there, took some of our clients, one of them including Lauren Conrad, and took them off on our own and created a company called Polka Dot Media. So there's 3 of us founders. And that was cool to have the opportunity to be that entrepreneur. And I was 24, 25 around the time that we did that. So that was a really amazing experience. I was younger than my 2 co-founders, just, really like eyes were big opening, eyes were big, learning everything there was to learn about the business side versus just like maintaining those tasks for work. So Polka Dot Media was awesome. We ran Lauren Conrad's site and a handful of other celebrity client site and really focused on that celebrity client space and some brands as well. Fast forward to 2017 and my now husband and I were engaged. He has a dental practice down here in Costa Mesa. And we knew we were going to live down here. We knew we were going to move to Orange County from LA. And it was interesting because as I was here in Orange County, I saw a big need for those services, for those like social media services, those creative services, creating photo shoots for awesome businesses that might not even like know they need them. And I was doing this drive on the 405, hours and hours. And as I would drive home back to Orange County from LA, I would kind of like look around and see that there were so many, cool brands and businesses and really amazing founders who had that business vision, but might not even like have a presence on Instagram, or they might post, once every 2 months. And it was totally an afterthought. And as someone, who had experience then in the social media industry, I know how powerful it is to drive brands and businesses, whether it's to drive sales or to drive new client leads, or even just brand awareness. Some clients have really service-based businesses where it's not selling a product on Instagram, it's helping their audience learn about them and learn about their brand and have that brand recognition. So there was so much need for that, and so few social media agencies down here and so few creative agencies that in like October, November of 2018, I did a formal buyout from Polka Dot Media and kind of sat on the idea for a while. And after a couple months, I was like, okay, is this what I want to do? And is this really going to work? And I had a couple clients come to me just from family and friends, from word of mouth recommendations saying, hey, I heard you do social media. I heard you had these awesome clients before. Like, could you do mine? So I kind of took that as a sign from the universe that this is just what I should be doing. And it's where my experience was lying. And it helped me to realize it was a great idea. And I think those little moments when you're asking the universe for questions and then something falls into your lap, I think it's a really big sign to go just run with it and see what happens. So January of 2019, officially, ANR Creative Group was founded, established, had that LLC mark on it. And I started running social media for a lot of clients and brands, service-based clients, product-based clients, but really in that lifestyle space here in Orange County. And that lifestyle space, what I have found works really well for like the clients that I've targeted to work with, or even the ones when they come to me. And I think with my team, I think like, is this client right for our creative group? Is this right for us? What I've learned in the past and what I've learned through working with celebrities who I admire and whose, my voice was the same as theirs. It would be easy to write for them. It would be easy to write captions for them, take photos, for their platforms. The best tip is to find clients who you're a fan of their work. So, we love clients in the lifestyle space of health and wellness and fitness. We love that interior design, interior decor, gardening, landscaping. That's an awesome area. Fashion, beauty. We're a woman-owned, woman-run, female team company. Not saying there's not room for a man there, but right now our interests really dictate like who our clients are and who the best client would be for us. So I think one of the biggest little nuggets of wisdom I've taken through my experience is work with people who you're fans of their product or fans of their services, because you'll be able to do the best job at creating content for them and writing for them because you love what they do. I'll pause there for a moment.
No, it's such a great story because so often, people hear about the entrepreneurial business, but they don't hear about the whole journey behind it, right? Like the fact that this is your second business that you've started and that it all happened organically, where you kept seeing like this opportunity or an opening, or as you said, the universe kept just sending people your way. You're like, I guess I have to do this. And there's so many people who work in the social media space today. And something that I think is really unique about what ANR delivers is you guys offer a whole level of a brand experience that I think a lot of people doing social media don't do, right? Like you can provide the content, you have a whole branding exercise you do with people. You really are committed to every brand looking like its best self digitally, to a place where I don't think people realize how valuable that is, right? Like often when I'm working with clients about like, what do I do about my social media? It's like, how quickly can I get someone else to do it versus how do I really find a partner who's going to like love on your whole social digital space the way that you would as a founder. And I think that's something that you and your team do so well.
Thank you. That's so nice to hear. And yes, we have a team of, it's myself and I have a social media director. And she is, her name is Tori. I'll ask her after this if she wants her name on there.
Yeah, that's fine.
So my team, I have a social media director who is amazing at helping with execute all of those. There's so much that goes into social. So stories, like I said, and maybe I should start from the beginning. So just like you said, when we work with a client and we find these clients where we're a mutual match, another big thing is we have to really love and really get along with the person who we're going to be communicating with. So whether a lot of times with these small businesses, it's the founder directly. And the founder is like, I've been running my social. I don't have time to do that. I'm making products, or I'm running this brick and mortar location, or I'm doing these amazing things. And social media is an afterthought. So we for us as experts, we're like, okay, well, it's not an afterthought for us. It's a forethought. So let's come together and, we'll take this off your hands and we'll do it, we'll do it better than you've ever even imagined. So it won't even be a point of stress for you. So that's really, we see that that's a relief for a lot of founders and clients when it's something where they're like, okay, I'm just outsourcing this. Um, so yeah, we really want to have that synchronicity and that harmonious relationship with the person we're going to be speaking with, because there's a lot of marketing goals and initiatives, and if it's launches or sales, or there's a lot of things going on with the business that social media has to reflect. It has to be that megaphone that's telling the audience, this is what's happening, this is what's going to push forward all of those business initiatives. So it's important for us to really, get along with and communicate openly with that person. But when we start working with a client, we, just like you said, we visualize their brand and how we would do it with that ANR touch. We visualize it from the ground up. So we've had clients come to us who they recently had a rebrand, and they're like, okay, we just need the social now. And we take everything that they've done and we go running forward with it. We've had clients come to us where they want to start a business, and they like don't even have logos. And so we'll work in tangent. We'll either have, use our graphic designer and our web designer help create those things for them, or we'll work in tangent with someone else that they have. But we want to make sure that everything we're doing is super intentional. And even with clients who we they're like, I want to work with you guys, and maybe they haven't had a logo refresh in years, or they just need one because it's just what will perform the best for this day and age that we're in, where things are moving so fast. And if you don't capture someone on that scroll, you're going to lose them. So that brand part is like step one. That is so important. We want to make sure that everything from the branding and the logo and even the colors and like their patterns and everything that goes into like even their keywords, are you girly or feminine? Those are really different. It seems similar, but there's a lot of difference between those words. All those things go into that brand identity phase of our onboarding process. And we're really intentional with making sure that there's social media elements woven into everything with their branding. So, like for example, if they have certain colors, like are those colors going to look really good in social media? They might look good in a logo or a billboard, but like, how can we make everything that's about this company perform its best on social and be beautiful and stop people in their scroll? So that brand part is huge. And it's something where once we finish that part of the onboarding process and we all are well versed into like, why are we caring about this brand? What is it looking like on social? It's really nice because that lays the foundation for the strategy and the photos and the captions and everything visual that comes after that. And I really am talking about Instagram when I say like the photos and the captions, because it's the bread and butter. It's the biggest driver of all of these platforms for social. But that's not to say that we shouldn't forget about Facebook and the type of audience that's there and the type of age group that's on Facebook. Pinterest is huge. That visual driver, if there's really viral photos where people are like, hundreds, thousands of people are going to click through that photo and go directly to that website, there's so much value there. So same thing with the design of the website. Like, what's the user experience on that website? What is the first impression someone gets once we've captured their attention and they're taking such a big action to go to the website? That's really important. So branding goes into all of that. And there's so much important on that first branding step of the process.
Yeah, so many people that have businesses or are doing any project that needs to call attention to other people, I can guarantee no one's spending enough time talking about branding.
Right.
It comes up with every client, and it's just one of the foundational items. Just like so often when I start with why, right? Like why, who, and what do you want to be delivering? It's those things that seem like they're not moving the ball forward fast enough that actually will be the accelerators later.
Right.
A lot of people who come to me as clients or who are listening have social, they think they might be able to do it themselves. They think that there's so much miscommunication about what you need from social media. And usually I tell people to like pause and like just have the basics until you have a strategy and know why you're doing it. But how quickly should a business really create a robust social strategy? And what's the pros and cons? Like, what's the impact if they don't?
So I actually think we restructured our packages a million
Mm-hmm.
times. And
Yeah.
actually for the listeners out there, Kara is my business coach. So there's like all this meta stuff happening here where she's my business coach and then I give her social strategy help and then we're doing this podcast. So there's so much alignment here. It's exciting. Um, but so Kara knows we've restructured our packages so many times. And with something as personal and as specific as social media, like we have these core packages and then we customize them from there. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's never a one size fits all with social media. We have to make things bespoke. We have to make things based on someone's business goals, based on where they're at now and where they want to get. So it's really important for us as a social agency to have these core offerings and then be able to have some flexibility to customize them for a client's needs from there. Um, that said, we did used to offer a really beginner package that was just, I think it was called like the beginner, or it's just something super elementary where a client might come to us and say, I just want social off my hands. I have these photos. I have a small budget. Like I don't have enough budget for strategy. Um, the issue with that we were finding is that strategy is what drives those results. So that's fine
Mm-hmm.
to take that off someone's hands. But then what happens with anything like this, with anything client services based, is a client comes back and says, hey, I've been working with you guys and like what it's not growing as fast. I'm not seeing the numbers. I understand what you guys are doing now. And like we're not going where we want to be as fast. So what ends up happening is that they should have had a strategy in the first place. It's just where
Yep.
it starts. So it starts with that branding. And then after that, it's like, what's the social strategy? What's the strategy that's going to drive new eyes, new, authentic users who are going to stick around and keep repinning, keep liking on Instagram, and then eventually buying the product, signing up for the service, whatever that end action is, that's where we want to get every client's target customer. So,
Mm-hmm.
and if there's no strategy, you're just posting things into the void and hoping someone notices and hoping someone sticks around. So that's the issue. I think the strategy is that I think not having a strategy is an issue. I think having a strategy is just in line with like our core value of having intentionality when we work with clients. So that strategy part's really important. When are we posting? Why are we posting? What kind of content? Who are we partnering with? Like who are we engaging
Mm-hmm.
with outwardly on the Instagram platform or the Facebook platform? Community management is a big part of it. Is kind of that strategy piece. Like how are we engaging with the people who are here? Like those are
Mm-hmm.
important um, members of our audience. We want to have them stick around and be return customers or return viewers or, whatever that action is. So I do think so. So long story, the moral of the story is that we've actually made sure that strategy is woven into every single package we offer, even our lowest, most foundational package. There is strategy woven into it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just what has to happen for clients to see results. And if our clients see results, then we're happy, they're happy, and that makes everything really awesome for moving forward with them.
Well, and it speaks to what's so fundamental about, especially providing a service-based business,
Mm-hmm.
is that you have to know you have to know what is required to deliver the results that you're committed to. And so often the clients that you're working with, they don't know what they really want. They don't really know where they're trying to go. So there's a responsibility for those of us who are in the service business to say like, I know you think you only need this, and I like trust me. And as the expert, you
Mm-hmm.
really need to do all of this
Right.
because if you see where they want to go, you know all the steps.
Yeah.
Like there's no way for somebody who is not a social media expert not to know all the details because there's so much overlapping alignment and every part of the social media experience is so integrated
Mm-hmm.
that if you skip one, to your point, like you're not going to see the results that you want.
Right.
Um, and for me, when I look at the types of companies that I not just take on as clients, but really want to work with for my own businesses, it's people who are thinking as if it's their business.
Right.
Like I know that trusting you with Powerful Ladies social media, which has been a few months now, I do not want to, you do not need to take credit for the horrible job I was doing before. So all the stuff that looks good is Allison. That's when you can tell when she started, or ANR started working on it. But I know I have so much trust that you are going to take care of powerful ladies in the social media space in that way and fulfill on our vision. Because I know that you really care. You're such a heart-led business and entrepreneur. It matters to me that you care so much and that you're dedicated and that you really look at it like, no, 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 no. We have to do it this way. Like you're not just doing it to get a client and to make your business work. Like, as you said, you're so selective at who you work with because once you're in, like you're in.
Right. And thank you, Kara. That's awesome to hear. And I'm glad you're glad with our product. And there's so much heart in it. Like, I'm talking about these packages. And the truth is that if someone chooses a package, like, we're going to go outside of that package. If someone says they want, they really want to have that external community outreach where we're engaging with people who might be fans, but they're not followers yet. And they're like, I can't afford that. Like, we're probably going to add that on because it's going to get results for our clients. And we're a team who we're happy to, put in that extra time because we love the clients we work with. But going back to what you said about, knowing all the tips and knowing the strategy and knowing even just with social media, keeping up, like reading articles in TechCrunch and keeping up with what's going on, that educational aspect. And I'm sure for you in the business coach industry, that's a huge part of signing a client or even just those steps of talking to a potential client, like educating them on, and it depends on the age group too. I mean, I think like millennials and even these elder millennials, like totally understand it. Like we're on social media a lot. We're shopping through it. We're discovering people. I mean, I've met like friends who have gone to like local people who have gone to coffee with like blind coffee dates through social media. So it's powerful. We totally get that. I think it's a little bit of that older generation who are successful business owners because they've run several businesses and they totally get the business side of it, but they're like, I don't get it. What's social media? What's investing in social media going to do for my business? Like, I just don't understand. So that's a huge educational element. And for anyone out there who's interested in like working in social media or starting a social media company, one of the big pieces of advice I would give you, and I've learned this from experience, is having something in your your discovery meeting process where you're giving them, whether it's like a one sheet of statistics about like, here's how social media grows your business, or whether it's just knowing those facts and being able to write them down and spit them off when you're on a call. I think that's super, super important just to know how powerful it is and to have statistics that back it. It shows people, first of all, that you know your industry. And this applies for any industry. If you're just for you, if you're a business coach and people are like, oh, I don't know if I should invest in coaching. Do I really need it? Like, spit off all those facts, like, business owners who have mentors or business coaches, like they're bound to do 80% better than businesses that don't. And that was a fake fact, but there's something out there like that that's powerful to those potential clients. And that can be the difference of them seeing that there's real growth and real benefit and results they can get.
Well, I think the quote you're thinking of, which I've shared with you, is that if you have a business coach, you're 80% more likely to exist next year.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the stat, which is like, when you say like, how do I get an 80% chance of survival? Like, you just need to have a coach.
Right.
Like, why does everyone not have one?
Yeah.
Like, sorry, that's my own coaching plug, but like, it's having stats to give people something tangible, because there's so much unknown when you're working with a service provider,
Right.
whether it's a graphic designer or social media or a web designer or a business coach. Like, you're hiring someone either because you want to level up in that space or it's not your area of expertise, and you're outsourcing it. So like, how do you know that they're legit? How do you know it's worth the investment?
Exactly. The other thing that's interesting is about that trust element. So with any service space, like once again, Kara, you're in the same boat with a business coach. With social media is so personal, especially if the founder was the one who was doing it and they're, debating whether they want to hand it off to this team or this person or this freelancer, whatever it is. It's so personal. And especially if, if your own name is involved with your social media. So that trust that you brought up is a huge part of it. And I think that working with celebrities and running social media in my previous company was an area where I learned a lot about trust and learned a lot about, like, this is really delicate work we're doing. We're acting as somebody's name. Sometimes we're ghostwriting for people's businesses. Like, these are situations where we really have to gain the trust of the client and gain the trust of even the audience, and
Mm-hmm.
almost have it be this like seamless handoff, and then have things look and feel better than they ever have before. So that trust element is really big. Um, because it's so personal and because it's such an extension of a brand's image or a business's voice or image. So trust is
Mm-hmm.
huge. And trust is huge with so many client service based businesses.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so much work that is done to the whole onboarding process you do and continue to do with the client is really to make sure that you are representing them in their most powerful way, in the most authentic way. I know a lot of people are always asking, should I hire someone to do social media internally or should I go with an outside agency? My opinion or my recommendation to everyone listening would be that um, go for a boutique type agency like ANR because you really have the personal touch and the intimate relationships with the people who are working on it, where it almost becomes like they're part of your team. And you're able to, at a very valuable exchange, get all of the expertise you would get at this huge agency. And it's a trade. Like, yes, you can hire someone, and potentially save money by having someone on your team do it. But I know as in the role of entrepreneur and owner, you then have to do so much of the strategic weightlifting by yourself. And, having someone who has marketing expertise to do things and think ahead of it and be a partner in the social media space to me is so much more worth the investment than hiring someone just to do the tasks, because then you're really just having someone do uploading and like very few things. You're not having someone level it up and think big picture and
Exactly.
be able to move it out of your brain space. Like, why hire someone if you can't almost forget that that part of your business exists? Like,
Right.
except when you're meeting weekly or whatever your recurring engagement is with that team. But that's also something I think is really powerful about ANR is that you guys have all of the know-how from these huge businesses and clients and companies that have been in your portfolio, and you know how to take people to these levels that are totally crazy and insane that people wish they could hit. And to have access to all that knowledge, they just need to hire like A&R. And it's
Totally.
like, it's
You're
that
speaking
easy.
our language. You're like speaking social media, speaking like a social media strategist and like a boutique social media company. Um, I think one of the biggest things with working with a boutique social media agency that's so hands on, and we always say this to clients because they ask the same question you just asked, you're getting multiple experts. You're getting an agency of multiple experts putting their eyes on certain things. You're getting multiple sets of eyes on your content. You're getting different brainstorm ideas. You're getting all these different opinions and voices
Mhm.
coming in, reading articles, staying up on the latest, consuming social media, and then coming to the table and saying, hey, by the way, I saw this story the other day from this brand. It was awesome. It worked really well. Or even bringing that experience of working with multiple clients. I think we've had conversations with potential clients where it just makes sense
Mhm.
for them to bring someone in house, and just like you said, if their budget is low, it has to be an entry level person who doesn't have that experience. But working with an agency, we're working with different clients and seeing different things happen and seeing different results. And we offer influencer partnership services because it's super powerful to have an influencer, um, to have them talk about a brand or business on their platform and level
Mhm.
up that client's social media. So even things like that, there's so much trial and error that we're doing with other clients, or
Mhm.
trial and success that we're doing with other clients, and we can bring that knowledge to a current client that we're working with. Having someone in house, I think it definitely satisfies that need. If you need like hour by hour content, you just need like volume of content at the headquarters every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think for, if you want someone who, we want a team of experts who they've been in the industry for a long time. They've worked on different platforms. They are trying things. They have the manpower, the woman power to just be doing amazing things with all these different clients. It adds a lot of value and it just adds that expert touch versus
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more of like a greener junior kind of touch to things. And it's just all about what your needs are. But um, with 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 our business, since we are a small boutique business, we will never grow to be such a large business that I don't know what's happening with every client. Like that's really important to me. And we've structured it
Mm-hmm.
so that different members of the team can work on different accounts and work with different clients or be the communicators with different clients. And that's important. Like one person can't be everything to every client if you're doing a multi-client business. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if there's big picture things happening, if the client's content calendar is ready for review, if there's a shot list for a photo shoot and we've had the team help put it together, there is nothing that goes to a client or that goes out in the internet world that I haven't seen or looked at or approved. And I do the same with my team. If there's a project that I'm spearheading and I'm like, okay, it's perfect, I think it's finished, like I'm going to run it by my team because there's things we don't catch. There's ideas that other people have. There's,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's a missed opportunity not to give your team the 2 cents and the opportunity to brainstorm with you and to be that second set of expert eyes.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that I am super proud at what ANR has accomplished is creating a team, right? Like that was one of the things that we took on together. And what I think you've done so phenomenally with is being a now mompreneur and how you made the adjustment from being, CEO and then having a baby and all the steps of like trust and strategy that you put in place to seamlessly transition your business through you actually getting a maternity leave. Like there are so many people who run a small business who think I can't take maternity leave. Like everything would fall apart. Like it wouldn't work.
That's how I used to
And
think.
right, well, you're a success story, right? Like you really did phenomenally with that process and you're now, back and kind of running in full speed again. And so what was that process like for you and how did it change your confidence about yourself as CEO?
Well, I should answer this question by actually explaining how we met. So, so I had one or two clients, maybe like two and a half kind of clients, two clients, one in the pipeline, and one client who's actually a business owned by a friend of a friend. And we met in college, and she had come to me when I had just left Polka Dot Media, and she was like, "I heard you're on your own. I want you to run our social." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay. I have a couple things happening. Like, let me talk to you when I have a little bit more bandwidth and more time. You'll be like the first on my list once I have time to onboard a new client." So months went by, and this founder was so awesome because and she's actually a member of the Powerful Ladies community, the online community. So
Mhm.
she's a super awesome entrepreneur. Um, she knows her business, knows it all, and knows the value of outsourcing that social. Um, so she is a client of Kara. As I told you, this gets meta. This is just like everyone knows everyone. She was a client of Kara's, and I told her at one point, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready. These clients, I'm feeling really good about these clients that I was onboarding when we spoke to last time. I think I'm ready to take you guys on, but I need, a part-time person on my team. I need a little help just because of the package that you want. You want a ton of social, you want a ton of content, you want photo shoots. Like I need
Mhm.
help. Um, and so she said, okay, you need an employee, like you need someone part time or full time, like you should work with my business coach, Kara. So Kara and I were introduced. Um, we headed off the first session, and Kara, you actually helped me find my first employee, which was such an interesting search. I mean, I was interviewing all these people, and it turned out that there was someone right under my nose the whole time who was looking for a job in social media, and that's that same woman who's my one of my main roles in this company. She's been with me
Mhm.
since that first part time position. So you helped me hire a part-time employee, do it legally, which was really important to me, do it the right way, do it with, you know, following all the rules, doing the benefits, getting her on payroll, like everything felt so neat with the way I did it that it took that pressure off of me. It took that stress off of me for thinking like, oh my gosh, it's such a daunting task to hire an employee. Like I want to do it right. I don't want to be like paying them cash under the table. Like I want this to be legit.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you helped me hire my first employee. I took on the next client, and honestly, it was like mutually beneficial for everyone. I was working with you, I had a new client, had this awesome employee, and that was step one with you and I working together that helped me to see like the things that I thought were daunting, especially as a creative, the things that are so
Mm-hmm.
so business savvy or so like financial or accounting savvy, like those things that are really daunting to someone whose brain works really creatively and really visually. You helped me to not be so intimidated by those things anymore. Um, and then if we speed things up, like fast forward for a year later, that was the time of my due date. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I hired my first employee and got pregnant with our first baby, our son, a few months later. And I came to Kara and I was like, oh my gosh, we have a new goal to work on in our business coaching. Like, how do I take on maternity leave? How do I bring on this awesome part-time employee full time? Because someone has to keep the client work up. So Kara and I mapped out this whole plan, and I had a goal and I had a date for that goal, and we met that goal, and it was awesome. And it was really liberating to come to you and have you say like, you as a business owner can have a maternity leave. Like there's solutions. um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's interesting because I think we all, as entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs or freelancers or even employees at companies, if however we feel best in the way that we work, we all have solutions that someone needs. So
Yeah.
for our in ANR's case, like we have this we have these custom social media solutions that work, and they're customized for each client, and we're constantly working on them to make sure that that solution works. For someone like you, Kara, you have these business solutions, and that was so valuable to me as someone who is a creative who wants to have flexibility and wants to have employees and have people to brainstorm with and help take on work at times. And I remember even coming to you when I was like, okay, I'm going to take my first like legit vacation since starting this business. Like, I'm really stressed about it. How does that work? And we even talked through all that. And I've taken vacations at companies I've owned before, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just a matter of really having a mentor, having a coach, or having someone on your side who you can talk through every step and look at it really, really small. Like, what do these steps look like to get to this goal? So
Mm-hmm.
the maternity leave goal was like that too. Like step one was, how do we get, my team member on from part-time to full-time? How do we get in a
Mm-hmm.
place with clients where we can see where we'll be at maternity leave time? And even the emotional aspect, how do we get to a place where I feel good about taking a maternity leave and know that the work will keep going and know that it'll keep going with quality and know that I can trust, team
Mm-hmm.
members. So I think once we checked all those boxes, it felt good. I was like, okay, there's first of all, no way I could be working right now when you're like in the weeds with a new baby. And the mental capacity is just not there. You're learning too many new things as it is with your first.
Yeah.
Um, and then that, like I said, that emotional aspect, just knowing I had a team I could trust, knowing things were handled. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was like such a gift to be able to take that. And I really owe the confidence in being able, and the steps that we set up, I owe all that to you for helping me get there.
My pleasure. It was like, honestly, those challenges are so fun to work on as a business coach because, like you said, there really is always a solution. And all the clients that I work with, I'm not saying yes to clients who aren't interested in finding something that really works for the whole life they want, not
Hmm.
just the business success. So even why you started this company was about the life you wanted to create,
Exactly.
getting to live in Orange County, be near your husband's practice, and just be able to enjoy it because there are the entrepreneurs who are just in it to 10 times or a million times the money that they can make. And that's not as fun for me to be creating strategies for, because it's only about the money.
Right.
And so knowing that you can have abundance in every area of your life, like that's the game that I'm playing. Like, how do you feel the most boss and be so successful and be the mom you want to be and be the wife and the friend and like all the things? Because a balanced life, I think, is really what we're all chasing after,
It
whether we
is.
admit it or
It
not.
totally is. And it's almost like,
Mhm.
so we have these love languages that we use in our relationships, whether, romantic
Mhm.
relationships, even like, friendship relationships. There's the love language test. And I think it's good to know what your love language is. But I also think there's like
Mhm.
this, I mean, it would be interesting if they came out with like, what's your business, like love language? What's your business currency for what will make you the happiest business owner? I think profitability is important. It all businesses have to have that at the forefront because it takes away stress. um, at least wanting your business to thrive is a big part of
Mhm.
it. So that's where that profitability comes in. But I think a lot of business owners want to have a successful business because they want to have the life they want. They want to have
Mhm.
freedom, or maybe they want to have nice houses or cars, like, or maybe they just want to spend time with their family and know that like the bills are paid. So there's so
Mhm.
many things that we want as business owners. But they're all unique to us. So for me, coming to you, we did so many exercises and like, okay, what are these values behind my business? What are the values behind ANR Creative Group? What are the goals? Like, what is our business built on? What should I be coming back
Mhm.
to if I ever am evaluating my business and thinking like, oh, is it still the business I want? Like, we always would come back to these certain pillars. And I think flexibility and freedom is a big one. Um, I think just like being able to live the life we want, and also like hiring people and hiring team members and working with clients who that's aligned. It's like we don't,
Yeah.
it probably wouldn't be a match to work with a client who's like, I don't care what it looks like, I just want to make a ton of money. We'd probably come back to them and say like, then maybe you shouldn't care about like, we'd probably come back to them and say, like, we really value aesthetics. We really value our work having that in our stamp of approval on it.
Mhm.
And if you just want profitability, you should probably find like an ads manager and just run a ton of Facebook ads and Instagram ads and just go from there. But
Mhm.
I think that intentionality and that authentic aspect are really important for the longevity of your business, because those are the things that's going to keep you loving what you do and you loving your business. At least that's what it is
Mhm.
for me.
No, I totally agree with you. We're not creating businesses to like flip, right? Where now that could be your end goal, but along that way, how do you really set up the strong foundation that your business is based on? Because that's actually going to add the most value to your business in the long
Right.
run. So whether you're building a business to keep it for yourself and to have it really be part of your family legacy, or if you're creating one to do great with and sell it and you have an exit strategy, the same needs apply to both of them for at least the foundational
They
elements.
totally do.
Mhm. When you look at where you are now, would 8-year-old you have imagined that this is what your life looks like?
That's such a great question. So, funny enough, at my elementary school, it was a K through 8. And in eighth grade, the whole eighth grade class, I hope they still do this there, but the whole eighth grade class was encouraged to write letters to their future 18-year-old selves. Um, and then we were supposed to address it to, our family home, our parents' house at the time, and we stamped it. And then the school somehow kept these letters and mailed them out to our parents every 10 years later. Um,
That's wild.
so when I was 18, I got to read what I had written to, um, it might have even been like 10 years old, or it must have been 13 years old in eighth grade to my
Mhm.
23-year-old self. So right when you're graduating college. Um, I wrote down several colleges, one of which I ended up going to. I wrote down that I wanted to keep certain core friendships, and I'm still best friends with all those and only those people really from grade school. You separate with a lot of,
Mhm.
you lose touch with a lot of people, and those core friendships, I'm still friends with those people. The things I was interested in, I'm still interested in. I just think it's really interesting to, I think it's a good practice to speak to our future selves. I think it helps encourage, goal making and really like centering on like, why am I doing all this stuff? Why am I
Mhm.
working? Why am I like working so hard? Why am I working so hard, whether it's at your business or even like, why am I working so hard at maintaining this family and maintaining these relationships or all these things? I think it's important to see why are we working for things. My 8-year-old self was definitely creative. I've always loved, as I said, I've always loved art. I think I would be totally proud of myself for continuing to focus on a job and in a career and things in life that are creative. So these photo shoots that we run for our clients at ANR Creative Group, it's probably my favorite service of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the biggest parts of running social media and visualizing that client's brand, like we were talking about. So, we'll visualize this photo shoot from the ground up. We'll talk to the client. We'll ask them, what are your goals for the photo shoot? Or we'll come to a client and say, you need photos. Like you have products or you have services or you have a team or you have a personality and we need to promote it. Like we need to get it out
Mm-hmm.
there so that your social can be a reflection of your business. So we will find location, we'll find models if need be, we'll find props, and then we'll source all this inspiration. I'm on Pinterest a lot. I even go through like coffee table books and magazines, and Instagram itself can be a big source of inspiration. And we basically consolidate all of this inspiration. And it's unique to that client. And then it's what we see that client's brand becoming through this photo shoot. And on those photo shoot days, they're long days. They're either, half days or full days, or I've even done 2 or 3 day photo shoots. They are long days. Like my feet are up on the arm of the couch at the end of the day. But I love it. I'm running around, either like setting up scenes and doing like styling of props, doing styling of the models, making sure like the product or the story is told really well through those photo shoots. And I love that aspect of our work. When one of our photographers, we have amazing photographer partners with our agency, and they all totally, besides their skill set being amazing, they just totally get, what it looks like to do a brand photo shoot. And when those
Mm-hmm.
photos are presented to us, like after a week or two, it's literally like Christmas morning. I mean, it's so fun to see our work and our prep and our styling and the whole brand story come together in these visual photos that I know people will love. And I know that their audience will engage with them and comment on those photos and repin them. And, clients like print them on their brochures. And I have a client who they were like, loved one of their photos so much, it's their iPhone background. So those are the moments where I think my younger self, my 8-year-old self would say it's super cool to see older me creating things and creating something where it's like a moment and a memory for brands and businesses. So that's like where I'm so passionate with that side of the work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also, knowing so much about you, know that your sister's also an entrepreneur. What do you think it was about how you guys were raised that entrepreneurship is like an easy yes for both of you?
My sister, who's one of Kara's clients as well, was just here and she left a couple hours ago. So it would have been fun for her to have a little cameo in here. Um, my my family is really creative, but my sister and I are such a reflection of the mix of creative and business from our family. So to give you guys a little background, my dad is in his 60s now, so he's retired, but he was a commercial photographer his whole life. So we were born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, and it was an amazing place to grow up. And my dad was a commercial photographer there, and he did a lot of, he's just a perfect example of the work that needs to drive the business and then the creative work. It has to be a mix of both. So he did a lot of like
Mhm.
commercial architecture photography. He did a lot of brochure work. He did a lot of, he did some billboard work. Of course, he was doing this work when social media wasn't, an industry. So really like that old school advertising, ads in magazines, and specifically local in Phoenix.
Mhm.
So that's what really drove his business. But then he would go on trips to Cuba, to, Havana, and go on safaris in Africa with groups of photographers, every couple of years. And those were his creative times. And those are the photos that he would, um, display in galleries, at gallery showings. Those are the photos we have framed in our home. They're black and white. They're out of focus. They're totally funky and artistic.
Mhm.
And they're not the photos that, drove the business and made the sales, but they drove him to keep doing the business.
Mhm.
I think it's so important to if creativity drives you, you have to look at what's driving you creatively and then what's driving your business, and whether you can meld them together or whether that you need to keep maintaining those two avenues. That's super important, because if we don't do that, then that's where burnout happens, or that's where your business isn't profitable if you're just doing that,
Mhm.
the creative, the hobby side. So you have to have a mixture of both. My mom was creative in the form of expression. So she was actually a dance major in college, and she did all this funky modern dance. And still, like, if we have the music on and we're cooking dinner as a family, like the dance moves still come out. But then she went on to get her master's, and she was a sales exec for actually a contracting company. So she went super,
Mhm.
super businessy, and she's a saleswoman to her core. Like, she could sell you on anything pretty much. Um, so we were really, there was a lot of fostering of like art, the creative visual side of things and the creative expression side of things. My sister's a chef, so she has this beautiful business. And she creates beautiful images of her food. She creates beautiful food. And she has at the heart of her business, like keeping that creative side and that hobby side of it flowing with the business side still moving
Mhm.
forward. And I think our business is the same. I think social media is the same. Especially if you are, if you're like us, where those photo shoots and that creative direction is such an integral part, and the branding is such an integral part
Mhm.
of the business. Um, I think like designing things for fun, like doing some graphic design for fun, doing photo shoots for fun. One of our photographers who we work with, and she's actually in the Powerful Ladies community. Her name is Marika, Marika Creative. She is one of our photographer partners, and we set up recurring calendar invites, and they're called artist dates. So we play around. Sometimes I'll bring the baby in, and we'll take some photos, like so just this fun lifestyle photos, moments, and we'll style things with backdrops. We'll play with shadows, and they're not for clients; they're just for us, or they're for us
Mhm.
to say we played with this. And sometimes we pitch clients with those
Mhm.
photos. But they came from us having no shot list, having no props, just like bringing things we have on hand and just playing. So having that balance of like we're doing a lot of client photo shoots, and then having a scheduled day that's blocked off just to play, having an artist date. It's important. It's the same way, that my dad went on trips and was able to photograph just for fun. You just have to have those moments. Otherwise, it's all for work and not for play.
So true. And I'm so proud of all of you for like getting that balance in, right? It's
Hmm.
important to not just block in your CEO time, but to block in your creative imagination time.
Hmm.
When you think of the words powerful ladies, what do they mean to you as individual words and what do they mean to you in combination?
I think powerful is obviously in itself a very powerful word, but powerful just gives you this feeling of this like power stance. It gives you a feeling of confidence. It makes you feel like it's a word when used with a person or with ladies, it's going to have impact. So um there's a lot to unpack with the word powerful. And I think
Mhm.
it's really positive. Like I think powerful, and we've shifted a lot of our as a society, a lot of our view of powerful women. And I think that's been really important for female entrepreneurs and for male entrepreneurs. I think that, it's important for us to have a great relationship with our fellow female entrepreneurs, but also our male entrepreneurs too, to be able to learn from each other. Um,
Mhm.
but I do think powerful ladies, I think that there's a lot of positive connotation with that. Whereas even 30 or 40 years ago, I mean, that was just a phrase that wasn't even used the same way. Women in business weren't doing the same things. They weren't making the same strides, and they weren't able to. They weren't, it
Mhm.
wasn't, it wasn't just, now it's expected for women to own and run businesses and successful businesses. It's expected for a woman to be on the cover of Forbes. So I think that powerful ladies I think it's a term that's really amazing, because it's a term that probably wasn't used in the 1950s or the
Mhm.
1940s, and used differently in the 1960s and 1970s. Um,
Mhm.
I love the word ladies of it, and I use the word lady, like, hey, lady, and like, hey, ladies, talking to my team. I use that word because I think there's there's a bit of like etiquette to it where it's polished, and polished is one of, our own ANR branding words, where I care about that level of polish. I care about,
Mhm.
That level of, you know, having that final package be really beautiful and intentional and presented to a client. So I think a powerful lady is somebody who cares about that polish and cares about confidence and, being herself, and coming at her business or her family or her hobbies from a place of confidence and intentionality, and putting that polish on everything. So yeah,
Mhm.
I think powerful ladies in and of itself is a very powerful term.
Who are women along your path that have either inspired you or helped you get to where you are today?
Every woman who I've worked with in any capacity um, has helped me get to where I am today. I mean, even just people who, I think we all have to remember that even people who we've had coffee dates with, it's so amazing how the domino effect can be so subtle. And we have to look back and like realize, oh my gosh, I went to coffee with that person. And while I was there, they mentioned this brand. And when I looked at this brand, I found this new friend, and they led to a client. Like, I
Mhm.
think there's such a subtle domino effect and subtle ripples of, um, of positive effects we can all have on each other. Um, every one of my clients, previous clients, current clients, have helped me to become like the expert that I feel I am today. And I'm still learning, in any industry, but especially in social media, where it's changing so fast. And it's not just changing like journalism used to change, or like
Mhm.
finance change, or accounting. It changing like they're literally, you're waking up and there's an update to the app, and you have to like pause everything you're doing, learn what's going on, learn about the algorithm. Like, it's changing fast. So,
Mhm.
I think any every past and current client has helped me. That opportunity to work with them has helped me to learn about the clients I'll be working with in the future. Same thing with team
Mhm.
members. Same things with my previous co-founders. And I think there's even things we can learn from our friends who are in different industries. Like, when work comes up, I think it's really important to be a good listener and listen to what, other people are doing in their business. There's so much to learn from that. And then I
Mhm.
have to say my mom, because she's always fostered. She's a powerful lady. She is a total powerful lady, and she has always fostered my desire to own a business. She's always supported, and her business endeavors weren't the same, but she always has sound advice. So that, really looking to those who are older and who have different experience and have that wisdom, I think, wisdom isn't something we can gain and learn in like a day. You have to be talking and listening to people who've gone through different phases of life to gain that wisdom.
Mhm. There have been so many changes this year. Like, it's endless. You and I have talked about how it's like the year of the never-ending level up. Like, how many times can you level up in 1 year? It seems to be the game.
Mhm.
How do you think all that's happened this year changes the expectations on women and mothers and female business owners versus what was business as usual a year ago?
I think it's encouraged society. I mean, there's been so many different phases of 2022. So, there
Mhm.
was like the panic phase and the unknown phase, and then there was almost this like adapting to our new normal, and we're still adapting to our new normal, but that new normal has kind of stabilized. And I think that what society has done, what I like to think that society has done, is given each other a lot of grace.
Mhm.
I think women are giving other women and other mothers grace. I think women are giving men grace. I think men are giving women grace. I think I'm hoping it's across all genders, because I think that we're all, the one thing we have to hold on to right now is that we're all in this together, and everyone's lives have changed. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that it's really amazing for me, because we had our son in the beginning of April. So we had our son at the time when they were like not letting husbands or partners into the hospital rooms, the delivery rooms in other parts of the country. So we were like crossing our fingers and toes that wouldn't be the case for us. And luckily it wasn't. But we had our son right when like the shelter in place had just started for a week before. So it was a great year to have a baby. I mean, we were at home with him. We were able to really just enjoy things. Where my husband's dental practice was closed, so he got this awesome paternity leave. He might have had like 5 days, 5 business days
Mhm.
before. He got like a month and a half. So there was so many blessings that came of it, and I think it really sets a different precedence to give each other grace. Like if you're on a Zoom call and it's, a super serious, business call and someone's kid runs around in the background, like we all get it now. And I think for moms, that has been there's such a benefit in that we can be
Mhm.
moms and we can be entrepreneurs and we can be business owners or we can be employees of companies and we can still fly that mom flag and not feel so embarrassed or so bad about it. I think before this happened, there was a lot more of like, oh, let's hide the mom side of my life and be the businesswoman when I'm at work, and then be the mom and like, take off the power suit before I get home. So I'm like the mom for my kids, and I can get like, I can feed them and get messy, and I can do all the things. And I think that it's come together so that those roles are now intertwined. And I think there's challenges with that. I mean, every since becoming a mom, every single day, I'm like, there's not enough hours in the day. And I used to say that before, and I'm like, oh no, now there's like really not enough hours in the day. But we just have to let ourselves be okay with getting the amount done and closing the computer at the end of the day, spending time with family, reading a book before bed instead of answering emails before bed, and just being okay with being both a mother and an entrepreneur instead of one minute of the day and then the other minute of the day.
Mhm. I think that's so well said. And, I think whether for people who are listening, whether you're a mom or not, or a dad or not, um, I think we're all accepting that like whatever we are, whatever like real life actually is, it's okay to blend it more. Um,
Absolutely.
I honest, I think that there is more opportunity to change the structure of what even work was, which I'm hopeful in like what a go forward plan looks like. For years now, I thought it was so silly that like both you and I went through phases where we were commuting from Orange County to LA, which is insanity.
Insane.
And I remember fighting with the team there about like, do we really need to commute? Like, what's like all of our jobs, which COVID is proving, we can do 99.9% of it remotely. And how can we blend what it means to be part of a team and what it means to just really be effective at our jobs and also give us more of our life back? Um, as horrible as COVID has been for so many people and so many businesses and everything else that's involved, I do think that the pause that it provided, I hope is has shed some light on things that we all value and we would like more of, more maternity paternity time, more time to take care of family, more time to do the things that we're good at and the things that we love doing. So, how I'm excited to see how they get shaped going forward.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that I think, so like I said, we've been through this roller coaster where everyone's like, oh my gosh, we don't have to go to work. This is awesome. Kids don't have to go to school. Like everyone thought it was kind of this like snow day and it was super fun in the beginning. And then what happened with me is our work is always remote. My work
Mhm.
since I've started working, ever since graduating college, has always been work that I can do from anywhere, which is amazing. But especially for me, after having maternity leave right after COVID shelter in place happened, and then keeping things really remote, I started to miss my team. So I think it's all about balance, and it's about remembering that there are some things where they work well for a reason, and like how do we structure our companies, these companies that we have this opportunity to make them exactly what we want and exactly this company culture that we want for people. So we want people to enjoy working and doing
Mhm.
that's so important to me, is that my team is having fun with the work that they do, and we're having fun team activities or having fun lunches, and I missed that. So it was kind of nice once everything started settling down and we had all just been with, our own families for like weeks upon weeks. And no one had even been to like a grocery store. We started doing like distanced team. We do them on Fridays usually, and we did them in like my backyard on picnic blankets and just brainstorming and not having to look at a screen or be on a phone. It was amazing. So I think COVID has given us this opportunity to say, like, okay, here are the things that we didn't like doing before. Here are the things that maybe we miss. Like, how do we incorporate those into our dream businesses?
Mhm.
And how do we take this weird learning year of like having a lot of remote time? What do we gain out of this? Do we want more remote businesses? Do we want some in-person time? Do we need a business where there's a lot of in-person time? And I think it's given us the opportunity to see, what as entrepreneurs, what our dream businesses should look like.
Mhm. And going full circle to the what is your business love language? 'Cause, you and I have talked about that. It makes me realize that for some of my favorite clients that I'm working with, um, like you and I, we share the passion. Like we love making things in collaboration.
Hmm.
And so I think that there's something I know that my love language is making things and making things together
Hmm.
because there's the brainstorming element I like. I like that you can make things, delegate, come back together. Like it's this in and out flow of getting to be in partnership with people where the most beautiful things end up coming out of it.
Hmm.
And I hope that can kind of get taken into an analogy for like what the opportunities that we have as a country and a world right now of, when we do collaborate, like things are more beautiful. Like you mentioned before, you don't even finish a project without your team seeing it. So how can we be in the headspace of how do we make beautiful things together? Because they'll be better that way.
Exactly. And like I said, I
Mhm.
think it's a balance. Like it comes back to, what is your dream company look like? And there might be people who work better. And I've worked with people who they just work better as an island. They work better
Yeah.
in their own room. And it might be like that engineer type of personality or that even like that coder, computer coder. Like there's some personalities
Mhm.
where they're like, this is what works best for me. And it works best for me to work up until 2 a.m. and then sleep in. Like I think we don't have to have a one size fits all business love
Mhm.
language. Like we can find what works best for us. And if we're given the opportunity to make our own company or even to, give insight in a company you're working for and say, hey, can we try this? Um, there can be a lot of good that comes from that and a lot more productivity and a lot more creative ideas. Um, and I think that's why a lot of companies are doing, they're going to doing more work from home time and less time in a big office because people need that change of scenery. They need that alone time productivity and then that group, collaborative
Mhm.
brainstorm type of work. And it can't all be the same all days of the week if you want to get, results from different types of people and types of personalities.
Yeah. Well, we ask everyone on the podcast where they put themselves in the powerful lady scale, 0 being average everyday human and 10 being the most powerful lady possible. Where would you rank yourself today? And where do you think you rank yourself on average?
I mean, right now I'm on the Powerful Ladies podcast. So today I'm going to give myself a 10 because this
Okay.
is an awesome dream come true and such a cool opportunity to be talking with you, Kara. Um, but on average, I think, and talking to all the mom entrepreneurs, the mom entrepreneurs, or even, the working moms who are, quote, trying to do it all. I think we can all be kind of hard on ourselves and like I said, feel like we don't do it all. And
Mhm.
it's such an impossible bar to set for ourselves to try to do it all. As women, we're taskers and we're multipreneurs and we are doing it all a lot of the time, but it's a really, really hard standard to hit. So, um, if you ask me that question in the middle of a day where, baby's crying, emails are not getting answered, I'm dialing in for calls late and things are just kind of cuckoo, I'd probably rate myself low, but I think it's important when I'm taking a moment of reflection like today to look back and say, us as working moms and working women and powerful women, we should rate ourselves a lot higher a lot of the time. So maybe I'll give that working mom an 8 for now, and she'll have some room to grow.
I love it. Well, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the Powerful Ladies podcast. Thank you for being a guest, and thank you for sharing all of your wisdom with us today.
This was a joy, and like I said, a dream come true. I've listened to almost every episode and always wanted to be a guest. So thank you for having me, and thank you for doing these awesome episodes that give us the opportunity to listen to other women and gain wisdom and experience. It kind of comes full circle at the end of the day. So it's pretty cool.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love that Allison not only discussed what to consider when hiring a social media team, but also how she's creating a life of balance for herself between CEO, mom, wife, and having a social life. Social media done well can change your business for the better. My advice is to pick one platform, start small, be consistent, and use it to talk to your customers. Then when you're ready, hire a boutique agency like ANR Creative Group to take you to the next level. To connect, support, follow, and hire Allison and ANR Creative Group, you can find them on Instagram at Allison_Rolfes and at ANR Creative Group. You can, of course, also visit their website, ANRcreativegroup.com. For all of the other ways to connect with Allison and ANR, visit thepowerfulladies.com/podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Powerful Ladies podcast. There are so many ways you can get involved and get supported with fellow powerful ladies. First, subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Powerful Ladies. Join the Powerful Ladies Thrive Collective. This is the place where powerful ladies connect, level up, and learn how to thrive in business and life. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page, and of course, visit our website, thepowerfulladies.com. I'd like to thank our producer, composer, and audio engineer, Kara Duffy. Without her, this wouldn't be possible. You can follow her on Instagram at Jordan K. Duffy. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, I hope you're taking on being powerful in your life. Go be awesome and up to something you love.